Disclaimer, this is all fiction. Anything I make up in this video is not real. Now let's jump right in. So looking at a few reasons. Looking at the most notable thing about the nuclear bomb that was left behind by the British in the 1970s have been found. I shall go over why did the UK invade Sweden and why did the Nazis, which were in Norway in the 60s, allow them, and why didn't the US step in, and why didn't the Soviets do anything? Now, why did the UK invade Sweden? Well, because this. Now, it's been overstated that the UK collapsed. The British Empire more or less collapsed after the fall of after the British fascist army took over Scotland, England, and Wales, and because of that, Northern Ireland gained its independence, and Ireland was planning an invasion of Northern Ireland, and Scotland was nuked, Wales surrendered, and England was fully taken over by fascists. But the colonies that it had in Africa, India gained its independence, Canada also gained its independence, Australia, but those were the only ones that generally gained its independence. But now with the African colonies, South Africa had a guerrilla warfare all the way up until Mosley's death, and they lost after Mosley died. Every old colony they were either gobbled up by the Nazis or the Italians, and then were given back to the British. Y'all know that. And then, yeah. That's fine. And because of that reason, the British were kind of, not really getting that wrong together. Weren't really that happy. And wording how the cult-like faction that the idea that the UK was born to be greater, and how it was ruined because of both world wars. But and because of that, the UK became very anti-American because of Oswald Mosley. Mosley had a cult-like fashion, became insane after the war was won. And some even debated what happened to his psyche. And because of that was one of the main reasons why Mosley invaded Sweden. And we all know what happened next. But because of that, no reason was because Mosley knew that to make sure that it was oversaturated that the British Empire fell apart after Mosley took over. But it didn't. Only all the colonies that weren't in Africa were able to gain independence, other than Northern Ireland, when that stayed independent, mostly because of the Northern Ireland Wars that was violent enough where it was debated if Ireland should just plan a full-scale invasion. but they didn't. And then because of this, we all know what happened next after that. But witting how trying to remember. Oh yeah, the Nazis and the Soviets. Now it was kind of obvious by that point that the Nazi dream of Europe being controlled by only the Germans was ending very quickly. And it's because of that, everybody agreed that it was either going to go the UK route or the Nazi route. It went the UK route, and no reason was the nations of democracy. Oh, but it's Switzerland as a nation. Now, there's been debated why did Switzerland join. Is it because both world wars kind of came back and bite them in the butt? But we don't really know. Oh, and then they wanted to feel safe from axis from both nations of fascism and nations of communism. So yeah. And then what happened next will definitely be, and it's been debated over widen, and then because of that, the only country that was vulnerable enough was Sweden. And Sweden's military wasn't really that big. Now, due to popular belief, Sweden didn't really, nope. The Germans didn't have a plan to invade Sweden, neither did the Soviets. But the Nazis wouldn't be just because Sweden was about debating if it should join the COD, the Commonwealth of Democracy, but it was still up in the air. And then because of that, we all know it. And then because of that, winning out Switzerland military had multiple budget cuts for the Swedish Civil War in the 1920s and 30s. And that was the main reason why it kept out both wars. And because it was the biggest war in Swedish history at that point, it decided to cut back its military and be more peaceful. But that would later come back to bite them. And then because of that, winning out the Swedish military wasn't that big. But you may ask, why did the UK choose Sweden? Why not Ireland? Because Ireland was still going through its own troubles, and it wanted to take care of some troubles. And also, the Nazis, the year before that, gave them Norway. They gave them Norway. And then because of a bunch of fascists in Norway agreeing that Norway would somewhat become semi-independent enough, but still be considered part of the crown. That's why. And the reason why the Nazis didn't step in was because, and respectfully, watching how that would be seen as a plan, but it was because they were dealing with their own troubles. Remember the monarchists and the localists made their own faction that caused a shootout. The communists had a failed revolution only months before that. And so because of that, they saw it'd be better to more focus on Germany. And they decided to put in pro-fascist leaders in the countries that they were allies with or were conquered. And because of that, it would definitely not cause any problems. And then, and now with the Soviets. Now, why didn't the Soviets get involved? Because there's one reason. They already invaded Finland. They guided most of Eastern Europe, or at least thought that between them, and they didn't. And plus, they didn't have to deal with the Nazi invasion. Nazis were planning invasion of the Soviet Union before even the Second World War started out. But because of the Polish, American, and French British alliance stating how Poland would attack, America, Britain, and France would all step in to make sure of its safety. And because of this, looking at the United States got in before this. Looking at the United States got in, they had to cancel a possible invasion of the Soviet Union for years. Heck, they had fully planned that after they would. Heck, it was even debated if they were able to take off after the invasion of the UK, that they should just skip. How they should even invade the United States. But during the occupy of England, they just used it to, during the occupy of both Iceland, England, and Norway, they just used the force to invade New York, New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont, and New Jersey. That started the American campaign. Now there was a part of me wants to do a whole separate series on the American campaign in World War II. The American front, but I probably won't be doing that because there's been multiple historical documentaries and multiple historical movies about the second to last time the United States had a war on its own land. But that's the main reason why both the Soviets and the Nazis and Germany stayed out the invasion of the UK's invasion of Sweden. Now time for the COD. Now why didn't the Commonwealth of Democracies not get involved? Well, because multiple reasons. One, Sweden wasn't a military member. It states out if a military member of the COD is attacked, then all the other nations have to go in and protect it. Sweden was not a member. Switzerland was. Spain joined in 1982, with France becoming a member, and Germany in 1989. But Sweden only became a member in 2022, alongside of Ukraine and Greece. Mostly to do with the threats of the new Japanese Empire and over the new Mexican Empire. But because of that, they didn't do anything about that. They couldn't even send guns, United States couldn't even send tanks or guns, unlike with the Irish Wars, unlike with the Irish-English War, but they were able to tell the Swedish that the invasion was coming and how they should prepare. And they did make the invasion a lot more harder for the English, but it was still easy. And then, so yeah, well, like the invasion, and we all know what happened next. And because of that, but Sweden didn't want to have another war that went on 2 decades. In the third year of the war, the Swedish government finally collapsed, and Swedish rebels hide out in the mountains, where most of them would never be seen again. Where Sweden could be occupied, and any Swedish fascists could work with BUF. But so yeah, especially right now, this would later help in the invasion of the United States. You know, I'm much more before these kinds of videos where I'm just talking to the camera in my room. And just more before these kinds of videos. Just like, I love flannel, but I like wearing flannel. And Santa, because I like Indiana Jones. But yeah.